Hello everyone, welcome to This Week in Hell. This Week in Hell, we're actually going to jump back in the calendar back to November. I hesitated on doing this since it is the new year and not anywhere near Thanksgiving, but we are only a little bit away from it, so I thought this would be appropriate. And the reason I want to talk about the history of Thanksgiving is because this past Thanksgiving, I saw a lot of misinformation being perpetuated on the internet. So you've all heard that story, right? The pilgrims came, the indigenous people fed them, or they would have starved to death, and thus began the first Thanksgiving. That's absolutely not correct. Thanksgiving did not become a regular holiday until Abraham Lincoln decided it would be during the U.S. Civil War. Why does this matter? Well, to believe the old story implies that you are pro-colonization, and many people have opted to not celebrate Thanksgiving because this is what it says to them. But you're missing out on good times and good food if that's the approach you're taking. In fact, Thanksgiving is very much a diverse and inclusive holiday. That's the way Abraham Lincoln wanted it to be. There were a few Thanksgivings throughout the years leading up to the Civil War, 3 or 4, but it wasn't until the Civil War that Abraham Lincoln declared it a national holiday. And for his declaration, his idea behind it was that we did have a lot to be grateful for. The Union was fighting back against enslavement, and they were starting to win. And so instead of focusing on the battles and the sadness and the loss, he encouraged everybody to focus on the unity, to be with each other, to be grateful for what we had. And that is why, although I am a U.S. historian of the 19th century, I very much still celebrate Thanksgiving, despite the fact that it gets in the way of my birthday. So there you have it. The next time someone tries to guilt trip you about your celebration of Thanksgiving, remind them that their information about the very first Thanksgiving with indigenous people and the original colonizers is not true. Thanksgiving did not become a regular holiday until the Civil War, until Abraham Lincoln used it as a way to pull us all together, white and black, north and south. Thanks so much for tuning in this week to This Week in Hell. See you next time.